It's a little past St. Patrick's Day, but I guess there's still the the BadLepricon around. What can you tell us?
So Lookout posted a blog entry about this malware they found in the Google Play Store called BadLepricon. And it was packaged in as a part of a bunch of what's called live wallpapers for Android. So basically you have your phone open and it's doing something in the background, almost like a desktop with an animation. And these things run all the time. And this was doing Bitcoin mining, completely not in the EULA for the software. They just start using your phone to mine cryptocurrency, which it takes a significant amount of battery and heats up the phone. These things,
right.
But I find this one a little bit more interesting. We've seen ones before where it'll actually burn out components of the phone because the phone is not meant to sit there and churn all day.
Yeah.
And actually, a previous one called CoinCrypt, I think it was called, or CryptCoin. Forgive me on that one, but this one, BadLepricon, actually puts in some checks to say, is the screen off? And is the battery above 50? And there's one more in there. And it's not so much being nice as it is preserving its own platform without destroying the phone.
Self-preservation.
Yep. So it's kind of interesting that they're still mining Bitcoin on a relatively low-powered platform. I mean, this is not the lowest powered platform we've seen Bitcoin mining on.
Right.
We've seen it on DVRs and all sorts of other embedded stuff that take forever if we even mine a single Bitcoin. Other ones will buy Dogecoin, Litecoin, other low-hanging fruit style cryptocurrencies because it's much easier to make advances in that. But whereas in Bitcoin, it's all sort of like tapped out at this point. You really have to work at it. You have to have a whole farm to make any money.
Right.
But it's interesting that we see this in the Google Play Store. Again, Google's supposed to have the bouncer platform to protect against this sort of malware. But as we all know, AV it does its best, can't always catch things.
Well, and this isn't exactly a propagating virus or something. I could see where it could slip in, and eventually it's going to get flagged and then and get pulled out. So I'm still a big advocate of using the mainstream markets because they do have the protections around this, and enough people that are using those markets that they're going to report problems and ultimately get those bad applications pulled off. And I don't know, Jim, do you have any thoughts on this particular topic?
You want to stick with the major markets, and Lookout told Google about this, and they've pulled the ones that they're aware of. So again, the first time that we heard about Bitcoin mining on an Android, I was wondering why they'd want to do it on such a low-powered device for just the reasons that Matt talked about. But
well, theoretictically, if you have enough of them, you're going to actually make a little bit of progress, and perhaps an experiment, how much to see how much you can really capture and whether you can do something effective. The Bitcoin mining thing really is going to be somewhat dependent on having sort of a long-term capture. That is, can you sustain that device and use it for a long period of time? That's where you're going to kind of get some of the payoff, and then obviously you want to be able to scale horizontally as well.
So another interesting thing is that they're using a stratum proxy, which is sort of a way of collecting the efforts of many Bitcoin mining individuals into a single one. So that's some sort of coordination. It's interesting.
It also affords some anonymity into the wallet, that's behind that stratum proxy. So
right. And you were saying that it's interesting that the Bitcoin mining thing is going on here on the mobile platform. The author of the blog actually made a good point that it may make sense in the long run to see Bitcoin mining done on these small devices as an alternative to advertising within the apps. So if you can monetize an Android application without having to shove ads in someone's face, I'm for that.
Yeah, that's an interesting. Can you actually get the turnaround? Can you get a Bitcoin, which is what they're around $700, $800 or something like that, probably about now. And so, that's a decent return for somebody doing that if you can get folks that are going to agree to it. But you can't hide it. Exactly. I think that's the significance. You can't hide it.